All right. Welcome to another episode of Africans Talk Football. How's everybody doing? Everybody good?
Everybody good, man. Hopefully everybody's good. Good.
Good, man. Good. It's dope to get here. I know we got a lot on the agenda today, so I'll just keep the intro quick. Again, thanks and shout out to everybody out there that's been with us this season. If this is your first season or if you've been following us for the past few years, this is season 3 of Africans Talk Football. So it's just dope to get here. We are joined by some familiar faces, and then before we get into it, I just wanted to do a little intro to my boy Poppy. So this actually goes back all the way to 2012. Is that when you were a foreign exchange student? Yeah, 2012. So Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Cleveland Heights High School is where I went to high school, my alma mater. And we always, at least since I've been in Cleveland Heights, we've had a relationship with one of the foreign exchange groups called AFS. It's a foreign exchange program, and Poppy was one of the foreign exchange students back in 2012, my senior year. So he was on the soccer team. Um, that's where our friendship started, and then even when he went back, we would still keep in touch via social media. So Instagram, Twitter. The last 3 years, we've been in a I don't know if you want to call it a soccer chat because it's more so like a soccer family. We be in that bit talking from whenever till whenever. As long as somebody's awake, there's going to be somebody talking shit in that group. So it's been cool, man. It really, for me, it shows the power of the internet. It really keeps people connected, and it's just been dope to see how, even though our teams may go up and down, how we still have that same fire, still have that same. We just love the game. It doesn't matter who's doing well, who's doing bad. There's always somebody to talk to about the state of football, whether it's World Cup, whether it's Euros, whether it's AFCON, or whether it's just the Prem. So it's been super dope. I'll let Poppy do like a quick intro, kind of let you know who he is, where he's originally from, who he supports. I mean, he supports 10 clubs, so you don't have to hold that against him. He's one of those. I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna win some way somehow. But yeah, go ahead, Poppy. Just a little quick intro, and then we can get into it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. What up, everyone? I'm really glad to be here. Joining y'all on this podcast. So yeah, I'm Papi. I'm from Senegal, West Africa. Like Corn said, I was in Cleveland back in 2012 for an exchange year, and yeah, that's where we met, and we were together in the soccer team, and then you know, even when I came back home in Senegal, I still kept in touch with him and with everybody out there. Really, just always been, it was Cleveland is like I didn't spend much time there, but it's like my second home because like it felt like home for real. Like when I was there, it was everybody was real to me. So I hold that dear to me. And then yeah, um, so I work at a company, a German company that's doing sustainable energy. And then on my free time, I'm also an artist. I make music and I also do photography a little bit. And yeah, I have 4 teams, and in the Prem, I got one team, and that's Liverpool. It's always been my team since I was like 7 years old. So I don't know what he's talking about. It's a joke between us. Like we have this group chat, and everybody's talking about how I have like all these teams, but you know, Liverpool is my Premier League team for sure. And yeah, it's been exciting, man. I was like, at some point, I kind of lost the passion for soccer a little bit, especially during the COVID years. But then Senegal winning the AFCON, brought back a lot of it in me, and yeah, so I'm really excited to be here, man. And hopefully, we're gonna have some great debates.
For sure, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Senegal as well too. Um, sounds like you're someone with a lot of talent. It's unfortunate that you're a Liverpool fan, but I'm curious. Who are your other three teams? if you support Liverpool, who
So
are the other?
So my first team, like the team I will never root against, is Barcelona. All right. Now the second one is Marseille, France. You know, and then you got Liverpool and Milan. Those are my four teams.
Liverpool and Milan.
Yeah,
Which Milan, AC or Inter?
AC for sure, the real one.
Okay. All right. We got
Yeah.
tread lightly today. I don't.
Huh?
I was just gonna say, like, Champions League is back too, and we'll do predictions there. So I mean, you'll have a lot to talk about because you have four teams that I think are in the Champions League. So you have a good shot. One of your teams will come out on top. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Sadly, Liverpool is not there this year. But that's okay. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited. I think this year is going to be very very competitive. You know, for once, I feel like we don't really know who might get it. It's all these teams are really looking good so far. So I think we're gonna have a great year, and I think the final is in Wembley, if I'm not mistaken. So that will be extra motivation for a lot of teams. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is going to be a big year when it comes down to the leagues. There's Champions League. I think this is the last year of the current format of Champions League as well. So as I don't want to call myself a football purist, but as someone who grew up with the top four teams from the big leagues being given that Champions League berth, it's going to be sad to see this format go, but hopefully with the new format, we'll see more teams being introduced into the Champions League. And I guess, there's always going to be some growing pains when you try to switch the format, especially since it's been like this for so long. But it's going to be a fun year, man. As long as I can watch my team play, I know Chelsea isn't in Europe this year, but as long as I can watch my team play and I can watch good European football, I don't really complain too much. But let's get back into the prem. Let's get back into the meat and potatoes. The jollof rice, as I should say. Let's talk about the teams that we support, and as you should know, on this platform, the teams that lose tend to go first because they have to explain themselves. As you know, we always give predictions on how we believe our team will do in the following week. And so last episode, Salam was a little hesitant. I knew he was going to be hesitant because Brighton is a great squad. These last year and a half, they've shown us that they can actually compete in the Premier League and that they can actually compete at a high level. And last week we gave our predictions. I had Brighton in the top four because based off what they did last year and where I see them going this year, they don't seem to be slowing down at all. And Salam was a little hesitant, calling them, hipster brand of football or whatever you want to say. But
I said that about Newcastle.
okay,
I
yeah,
said that
yeah,
about
yeah,
Newcastle.
yeah, yeah. But with Brighton, man, they've just been on a tear. They've been on a super tear. I would say besides City, I think they've had the best form, even over Arsenal. I know they lost a game early this year as well, but if you look at their last 6 months, I think they and City have the best form. And so 3-1, I did not expect. I'm not going to lie to you. But, I'll just let Salam take over now. What did that game show you about United? And what were your biggest takeaways from that match?
I think that game showed me a lot of what I already knew. We still have a lot of growth, a lot of improvement that needs to be made. Even with all the money that has been spent into the team, it's clear that we still have things that need to be fixed. I do just want to shout out quickly before I talk about United, Deserby. He's one of my favorite managers in the Premier League. Um, I think for sure, and it's just a matter of of when he'll get like a top club. But I think that he's a top manager, and I think that he showed his brilliance. I think Ten Hag surprised everyone, myself included, with the new formation that he came out with. This 4-2-2 diamond. Scott McTominay started and was playing as like almost as a shadow striker. And I guess that's kind of like where he was playing for Scotland. And for Scotland, I don't know, man. He's, believe it or not, he's up there in goals. At one point, he was tied of top goal scorer with a few of the other European goal scorers. I forgot who they were, but look it up. It's facts. I think that caught him off guard. De Zerbi, he adapted, and from the 20th minute, from when he adapted, I think it all went downhill for us. Again, I give credit to Ten Hag a lot, but we have to ask him questions. Last week, I was on here talking about how Jadon Sancho shouldn't be on the team because of whatever the manager said. The manager took Jadon Sancho out of the team because he said he wasn't training well. I cannot watch that Brighton game and tell you who's been training well for us, 100%. And I personally don't think that I can kind of see why he's came out. Jadon Sancho has came out and said like what he said, because I don't know, bro. Sometimes it seems as if he's not holding everyone to the same standard. Like you can't sit here and tell me that what Marcus Rashford does is that's okay. You know what I'm saying? How do you not take Marcus Rashford off of that game with the performance that he had? Rasmus Højlund, taking him off in the 60th minute, taking Casemiro off in the 60th minute. Why? Because we have to go prepare for Bayern? I think that's I think that it was very naive from the manager. I think that he continues to learn. He continues to get humbled. But like I said a few weeks ago, I think our biggest problem is our midfield. He's responsible for unbalancing the midfield, and he ultimately is going to, be held accountable for this. And I've seen this before with a lot of United teams. They always have that new manager bounce, and then just like everyone else, they'll turn on you. But I think he should be very careful. He has a lot of blood on his hands, but I don't see how we every half, it just seems like we always look good first half, come out second half, and we look worse. So I don't know what he's telling them. I don't know if they're buying into what he's saying still, but it doesn't look good. And I know this is how we started last year, and I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about, well, everyone counted us out before the Liverpool game. This is the same thing that happened. Lost against Brighton, lost against Brentford, but still concerning, man. This is year 2, and I still don't really see any improvement.
Do you think Ten Hag will be your manager next season?
Next season, absolutely. I think I think that you can't go away from him. I think the Ten Hag out movement that has been started is a little premature. It's a little reactionary. Even for Manchester United fans, I think that the Ten Hag out movement is a little premature. All things considering, if you look at the work that he's done last year, won us a trophy, got us in the top 4, made a pretty deep run in Europe. I don't see how you go away from him. I know it's been a rocky start, and he is responsible for, a lot of our poor start. He's a part of that, but no, I don't see like how you go away from him. Like you get rid of Ten Hag, and then what? And then who? De Zerbi, and then what? You give him 100 mil, and then you don't really give him much afterwards, and then what? It's not sustainable. So, in his defense, he's had to deal with a lot, though. You got to
What do you think the problem is, though? What is the problem?
I mean, we can't score. You can't win if you can't score, right? That's 100%. You can't win if you can't score. I don't see where we're going to get our goals from. I think Marcus Rashford last year was our best player. I can confidently say he's one of our worst players this season. There's no cap at all. This season, to me, if you were to ask me the best player on the team, you'd probably be surprised. I would probably say Wan-Bissaka's in there, 100%. But everybody else, Bruno, the guys that I'm supposed to be looking at, no. So to answer your question, Mike, I just feel like, one, the player objectively, when you look at it, the players that we're supposed to be leaning on are not good enough to be leading a team the size of Manchester United. And I really hope that I'm not that I'm wrong about this, but I really hope that the manager isn't too big for him either. So I think it's not just a one person thing. I know a lot of people want to say it's Onana. One person want to say it's Rashford. It's not. This is Sancho's fault. This is Maguire's fault. This is a lot of people's fault. We have no depth. We have no depth.
Speaking of Onana, though,
Yeah.
I mean, some of the goals this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If De Gea was in goal, I think he's
I
saving
think
that.
he's saving that bottom corner, bro. It was beating him up.
No,
But
but
I don't know.
I don't know.
How can we blame Onana when they have to go through everybody first? You know, when you look at the goals that we concede, I say this to my youth soccer team that I coach. I coach a U15 soccer team, and I say the frustrating part for me, guys, is that when I watch this game, it's like I'm watching the same game over and over again. The only thing that's different is the jerseys may be different, and that's it. But the way that we concede all of our goals, it's not good enough. When you look at the goals that we concede, they're all good goals. Look at the goal that they scored against in the second goal against Brighton, the Odegaard goal against in the Arsenal game. What do you want him to do about that? He can't do anything about that. I don't think that it's on him. I think that it's popular and it's funny to join this movement. That's what I'm going to keep saying. It's a movement. I think it's funny to join the movement, but no, I don't think Onana is at blame. If anything, I think Onana is better than a lot of starting keepers on this podcast. I'm just saying. Even on this podcast, Onana is better than a lot of people on here. So if you want to have that debate, that's debate. But I don't think it's on him.
I don't think it's on him.
Y'all wanted a ball playing goalkeeper. You got it.
This is a part of it. It's a part of the process. You got to go ball. Like when we had Ederson, those first year or 2 years was, I mean, he was shaky. It took him a minute, but
Solo, let me ask you a question. So Ten Hag has clearly showed that this year we're not going to go with the plan that I think everyone was under the assumption that we were going to go down. This, progressive idea of football, you know what I'm saying? Like the city, we're passing and moving. This guy's Dutch. We're not doing that. If anything, I think we're trying to replicate what Liverpool replicated a few years back. This high pressing, high energy team. So for a team that doesn't possess the ball at all, we're one of the worst teams in possession. I don't know if you guys believe me or not, but you can look it up. In possession, we're one of the worst teams in the Premier League. We're equivalent to some of these lower teams that let you guys just have the ball and then we're just going to play you on the counter. Why do you have a ball-playing goalkeeper? You don't even have the ball. Why do you have a ball-playing goalkeeper? You know what you need? You need a shot-stopping goalkeeper. You know, we had that. But you know what I'm saying? Who do you blame for that?
that's the funny thing too. It's like to your point. Like when De Gea left, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, man, I hope that means they're gonna start changing up their entire way of playing and stuff because the amount of times De Gea has saved United across the past few years was crazy. And with Onana, I feel like he's still gonna get better. He's so young. So it's not even like it should be too much of a worry. But you're right. He's asked to be a ball playing keeper in a counterattack system. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. So it's gonna have a lot of these kind of I think slip ups, just things that he's gonna feel overloaded a lot because the defense even isn't able to retain that possession. A lot of I think United's team is what they call press resistant. They're not press resistant. It's like you push on them a little bit, not like Casemiro and Bruno, the guys have been there for a minute, but some of the other ones they're still a little bit shaky on the ball.
All of them are shaky on the ball.
Yeah.
I won't protect anybody. I think you're 100% right, but you got to fault Ten Hag because he's the one that brought him in there. You know what I'm saying? We had a keeper that suited our team. You took him out of the team for this ball playing, progressive style. We don't even play that style. We don't even keep the ball. So I don't understand why you have a ball playing, goalkeeper. But, I think it's just, it is what it is, man. I like Onana, With the same hairstyle. I like him. I really enjoy him. I think that I think no cap. I think he's a top like keeper. I think it's just this situation right now makes it look as if he's not a good player, but that's just my opinion.
They just got to look at the Champions League run.
With
Onana, like that, especially that last game, he was one of the reasons that the City game was ending at 0-1. It was because he was holding down, stopping shots, all that. So he's good under pressure.
He's a lot better than some, man, like Robert Sanchez, and Aaron.
I mean, you can pick on Robert Sanchez.
Mandem just had clean
he's
sheet.
actually making saves.
Oh, he got a clean sheet.
Mandem just had clean sheet. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, man, he's actually making saves. He's
actually making saves. Mike, do you realize we're next to each other on the Premier League table? Where? What is he making? You know what?
More standings FC.
I do have a start sub sell for you. Two of the guys are going to be about two of the guys you already know. The third one, I'll throw a little curveball in there. Go ahead. Nah, we suck though.
We might as well switch gears to Chelsea because again, we didn't get the dub this week, but I mean, I'll say my piece again, and I'll let Mike go ahead with his piece. It's just more of the same. And honestly, I do want to give a shout out to Mudryk because this is the first time we've seen him start all year. I mean, we didn't score a goal, so obviously there wasn't a lot of production as far as numbers-wise from him, but he was one of the few players that was actually working. I mean, if you look at the first 30 minutes of that Chelsea match, we should have scored 2 goals. I mean, there was so much going on. There were corners that we could have scored off of. There were breakaways. I mean, there was actual movement in the attacking third. We were making it work. Sterling misses. I mean, it's just so much more of the same in that we are not clinical enough. I know we could go back to we have 12 injured players. We have players that haven't started together before. We have players that aren't used to playing certain positions because now they have to fill in for. You can say all of that, but at the end of the day, we have 14 shots. I want to say like 7 on goal. I mean, you could even look at the Sterling free kick that hit the post. There were so many chances for us to score, and I think that's why it's frustrating for us right now because we aren't playing Chelsea. We aren't playing like the best football ever, but we still have chances to put the game away. And so it's frustrating when you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chances, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots on net, and it just isn't getting across the line. And so I really don't have much to say as far as tactically we didn't look that great or defensively we were kind of this or that. For me, it's more so about how are we going to get the ball across the line because we're in 15th place, 14th place. And it isn't because we're playing a terrible brand of football, but it's because we can't seem to figure out how to put the ball in the back of the net. Like this is the same issue we had last year. Chelsea wasn't clinical enough. 5 games into the Prem, still not clinical enough. So I don't really know what it is at this point because we're playing decent football. Like, don't get me wrong. We could be playing a lot better. But like I said, week 1 after we drew Liverpool, this is a great place to start. 1-1 against one of the teams that's probably going to be top 4 this year. We know who Liverpool is. They're back and they're healthy. They're rocking right now. But after that match week 1, we started switching up the style of play. And I don't know if it's just players being confused about what Poch wants them to do. But when I'm looking at clear chances and the ball not being put in the back of the net, at this point, I'm like, there's only so much Poch can do to prepare you guys to play this 90 minutes. You have to score the ball. That's where I'm at right now. I don't really care about how we play. We just have to score the ball. So it's super frustrating, man, because we're drawing games against some teams that we should not draw against. We're losing games to some teams that I believe we shouldn't lose against. And when you can't beat the Bournemouths, when you're struggling against the Lutons, when you're not beating the West Hams, you're already starting off the London derbies 0-1, 0-2. It's not very, 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 very. like I don't know what to be optimistic about. You know what I'm saying? Like going into the next match, it's like, all right, we can give our predictions, but realistically, I'm not optimistic about anything because there's nothing that I've seen over this first month and a half that's saying, oh, okay, Chelsea, I see what we want to do. Yeah, I see how we
Yeah.
want to play. I just am still confused at what the style of play is, where their identity is, and it seems like there's just something missing. But for whatever
Yeah.
reason,
Mhm.
I don't know what to, I can't put my
Yeah.
finger on it, but my biggest issue is we're still nowhere near clinical.
Mhm.
There's no excuse for some of those chances not going in the back of the net. There's literally no
Yeah.
excuse for me. So that's just
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at right now with Chelsea.
I mean, I know I talked about it a little bit, last week, and I said, after was it last week, 2 weeks ago? I said I had nothing. Yesterday I left the game feeling the same way. I mean, I couldn't tell the positives from the negatives. Like I walked away thinking this is not even like I don't know what, like you said, I can't put my finger on it. Um, is it the players? Is it the tactics? It just seems like nothing is working. And my biggest thing is the injuries. Like, what's going on? What is actually going on? How can we possibly have this many injuries? I can't I just can't understand that. It just cannot be normal. Like that's my biggest worry right now. I don't have any tactical suggestions or anything that I think, oh, we need to do. I just don't see it. Like you said, there's nothing I've seen that I can build like, oh, we can build on that. Oh, we can build on that. I I just haven't seen it. Palmer came in. I didn't see anything. Mudrid started. It seemed like the first, 20, 30 minutes he was doing something, and then I didn't see anything. Jackson just can't seem to get out of his own way. He just can't seem the kind of confidence he had in the preseason. I just don't see it anymore. Um, Sterling just, I don't know. Sterling is Sterling. I mean, I didn't expect Sterling to come to Chelsea and save us. I never expected that. Everybody on this pod knows how I felt about Sterling until he put on a Chelsea jersey. Everybody knows that. It's so hard for me to talk about him because deep down I know where I stand on him. But he plays for my club now, so now I have to be supportive. But I'm seeing the things I expected from him. I'm not like surprised, but like it's like, come on, man! Like you're
Wait,
like the senior guy. Do something.
of the guys that are injured, like let's take Nkuku out of it because we haven't really seen what
Yeah.
Nkuku looks like in a Chelsea shirt. But who would you say like, oh, like we're really missing this guy?
Reece James. But I mean,
The
it's
obvious one, the
but
most obvious one is Reece James, clearly.
Reece James.
And if we also had Badiashile, from what I saw him in all the games he played in last season,
Mhm.
he gives you that Thiago Silva kind of feel where it does not panic. Everything seems to calm down once he touches the ball. Seems to make the right passes most of the time. I do have one thing though. Thiago Silva this weekend, my God, I was getting frustrated. He's almost like a ball killer. You know how the ball gets to one guy and he just completely kills everything?
Yeah.
From a different era.
Every single ball, he has to stand on the ball for 10 seconds. And I'm like, let's move the ball. And it's becoming like every single time. He just stands on the ball looking for somebody. Is it him? Is it the guy's not moving? What is it? But overall, I really don't have much suggestions because Chilwell didn't start, same result. Chilwell starts, same result. We've had the same back three for what, the last 4 games? Actually the whole season, right? It's been the
Pretty
same.
much, yeah, pretty much.
Malo Gusto, he's actually showed me something. I like the way he plays, but he's definitely like not our clear starter. It's clearly Reece James. We need our captain back, and I would love to see Broha, somebody to give Jackson some type of challenge, some type of break, because right now he's just not getting it. And
Nah,
I don't have anything but the injuries. we can't be having the same problem we had last season. Like, what is going on? How can this many players be injured? How?
If I'm just looking at the injury list, that is 11 people. That's an insane injury list.
That's
It's
way too much.
370 million dollars worth of players injured. That's an insane amount of money to be in the med bay or whatever. So like, yeah, I'll say this. One thing that I feel like a lot of clubs don't invest in is their medical staff. I didn't know about City until our medical staff had won the medical staff awards 2 years in a row, and some tweet came up, and I was like, I didn't even know they gave awards for medical teams and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But then I started thinking, I was like, we have injuries, but they come back pretty regularly, and it's not like any. I can't even remember the last time we had a season long ending injury from any of our players, even though they've been injured. And I look back when Pep came, that was one of the first things he said to everybody: you got to replace the entire medical staff with these people. And I don't know what that means in terms, I don't know their backgrounds and stuff. But that, I feel like if I was working at Chelsea, I'd be like, can we stop buying players and buy better nurses and physicians and doctors and whatever? Because it's rough out there right now. 11 is an insane amount.
And Solo, I'm glad you brought that up because besides Reece James, I was going to let Mike finish, but besides Reece James, the other guy I was going to say that we're missing and we haven't even really seen him is Nkuku. I mean, we spent dollars for him to come in and be the guy up top. And again, the issue with us is we aren't scoring goals. And one of my biggest frustrations with this new Todd Bowley regime is that they came in and our entire staff they got rid of. I mean, we had Petr Cech in our staff. We had one of the top medical staffs in the Premier League. I forgot what her name is. I was trying to look for it here.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you've watched long enough, you know Maria.
Yeah.
Maria.
Ava Canelo.
Michael knows.
Literally, like we had one of the best medical staffs under Roman Empire. And then as soon as the whole transition happened, you know, Bowley with his big American pompous ego wanted to just say, no, this is my team now. Thank you for what you've done, but you're gone. And now you're seeing the trickle down effect. You're seeing the trickle down effect in real time because now we have a injured 11, some of our best players, 300 plus million on, you know, just collecting checks every week in rehab. And now you're seeing how that's causing our team to just be super, super, super crumbly right now. And it's frustrating because we obviously don't know the ins and outs of what goes on. But for me as an owner, if you go ahead and make a decision that ultimately is having negative effects, you would think as a business owner, you would be like, hey, we have a lot of injured players, whereas before this was not a big deal. Why is and what can we do to remedy this? And that is another one of my frustrations. I mean, I don't want to keep going on all about it because I'm not the biggest. I've never been the guy that blames, you know, losses on who's not on the pitch because the players on the pitch have to play. That's just how I am. But at the end of the day, we are missing some very, very key players that could potentially change some of these outcomes for us. So that's another one of my frustrations. And I'm very, very glad you brought it up because I don't want to be the guy that be like, well, our staff isn't the same. And that's why everyone's. But
many injured
players is insane. Yeah, 11 injured players is like, nah, that's you can't really blame a team. More than half a squad, that's crazy.
Early in the season too.
That's very important. A lot of people don't take that seriously. Barcelona had that problem before Xavi came. We had a lot of injuries every season, and then he came and he changed the whole medical staff. And now, even if you notice, Dembele was getting injured all the time, and then Xavi comes and he's not injured anymore. And that's a very important part for a team. But like for Chelsea, I don't know. Do you guys think like even if it wasn't for the injuries, like for example, if right now those guys that you mentioned were healthy, I feel like they still wouldn't be able to like win. I'm not sure. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I feel like that's not really I mean, of course, it would help. But I feel like it's an identity problem. Like Chelsea is like right now finding their identity pretty much. And they also don't have that one guy who, like, when they're desperate, he's gonna be able to go out there and bring something for them. Um, that's important in a team. Like when you worried, like when you try to score and score, and it's like you can't make it happen, and it's like the 80th minute, and now you're just hoping for someone talented enough to just go out there and save you. They don't have that one guy. Jackson is really good. I was really happy that he joined a club like Chelsea, because I've been following him for a long time now, since he's Senegalese. And I told Corn, actually, I told him that it's a good acquisition for y'all. But you know he's good, but like as any striker, if you start 2 3 games and you don't score, you start losing your confidence, and that's the worst thing that can happen for a striker. You lose your confidence, it's over. So I feel like they would need that one guy who's going to be able to create chances for them. Put him in a position to score, and once that happens, it will go from there. Because I don't think even Rich James, even if he comes back, I don't think he will be the guy to do that. You know, because the thing is, you're not like conceding goals, but you're not scoring neither. So it's just like the playing style is just kind of stagnant. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree, and that's one of the main reasons why I said him cuckoo, because if you were seeing what he was doing over in Germany with Leipzig, I mean, even before Timo Werner got there, I know Timo was not the best player for us, but if and me and I don't know about or so about Bike, but I always said this about Timo. That guy was a freaking workhorse. I mean, even if you look at the year before he left Chelsea, he still ended with like 12 goals, 5, 6 assists, all competitions, which easily could have been 25 goals, 10, 15 assists if even a third of his misses would have gone in. But he was always active, always moving around. And if you saw what happened when he went back to Leipzig, him and Nkuku, they had such a great working relationship. I feel like that's the type of player we need. That's always going to be on the front foot. He's going to be attacking that center back. He's always going to be with the last defender, just making stuff difficult. So I really hope that he can come back healthy, and I truly think he'll be a game changer for us.
See, this is why I was saying, I was looking at Sterling as, the vet, to at least be able to take on that role that, okay, like he said, 80th minute. You know how many times Hazard did that for us? Where it was like nothing is happening, and then one magic from one guy. And I thought Sterling coming in at least could be that guy for right now. But I mean, it's just he's
It's
just
I think
not. It's not even close.
It's not even close. I think one thing that Poppy was saying about like the confidence piece, there's a lot of players at Chelsea that are what I would call, or like what I consider, like they're like confidence players. If they're feeling good about themselves, they're great. But if they're not, they just can't get nothing going. And I've noticed that with like Sterling, and it seems like Nicholas Jackson to a certain extent. But that's the thing about Nkunku. That man got confidence. He's every time you watch him play, his interviews, everything he was at, until Hummels messed up his old injury, like messed him up and everything. He was so like just ready to go. So they just there needs to be a player that just has a just constant like belief in themselves in that way. Like on Arsenal, Eddie Nketiah, like man's on the bench 90% of the time, but he comes off like, yep, time to score, time to shoot, and everything. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I think like United though, I think Chelsea's lacking like that guy. I don't even I like Nkunku, but if Nkunku comes in, I still think that you guys need someone that can consistently put the ball in the back of the net. Because I think regardless of the goals that he contributes, Nkuku's not Hazard. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, I think we should all scale down the expectation on, what this guy's going to do. But I just, for me, the biggest thing that, and to Cornelius's point is, yes, you can't score. I think that the narrative is completely different if Jackson puts that goal in and you guys win 1-0. If Sterling even puts that shot on target, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, did it go out for a throw-in? Almost, it went out for a throw-in.
No, it hit the post and then it redirected. I forgot somebody else got a shot off and then missed.
No. You see the one where he got the ball on the turn in the box?
Oh yeah.
Mike, you're on mute. But he got the ball. He got the ball on the turn and he didn't even hit the target.
He missed. Yeah, it went far. Yeah,
it went wide.
But yeah, man. Again, it's just more of the same. And until like, I mean, you guys brought up great points. Until we find that it guy, that guy who has the X factor, the ability to change the entire course of the game in a few moments of brilliance, it's going to be a frustrating start to this season. Like
Yeah.
I already see it. It's been very, very tough to watch these first 5 weeks, and I hope that slowly but surely we can get more guys into the fold and we can get our team back and hopefully find some confidence somewhere. Because a team that right now is brimming with confidence after that first 1-1 draw against Chelsea is Liverpool, man. I'm gonna give Poppy the floor right now because he knows that I've always been very, very critical of Liverpool, especially Salah, because sometimes Salah goes missing. We've seen him go missing, and after Mane left to go to Bayern last year, we put a lot of pressure on him, and Liverpool last year had their ups and downs, but we're still able to finish in fifth place. But right now they look really good, man. And like I said, their front three is dangerous. They have a super dangerous front three. We saw a goal from Gakpo today. A few weeks ago we saw Nunez get a brace. Salah's always going to do Salah. Jota is going to be Jota. Luis Diaz came off the injury acting like people forgot about him. So it's super cool to actually see that team start to get it back together. But Poppy, were you able to watch the Liverpool match this weekend?
Bro, don't jinx us, man. What are you doing? Stop. I know where you're going with
Hey, I'm
this.
not Paul Pogba. I don't have no juju for y'all.
Yeah, no, Liverpool, man, I'm really happy about what we're doing right now, how we look. It's what I like about this team is the depth, and I believe I told people that you know Klopp is one of those coaches that can work with little. Like he doesn't need too much, to do his thing, and people don't really give him credit, but a lot of people thought it was over after Mane left, after a lot of guys left, and then we were last season I believe at some point up until December we were like seventh or eighth in the table or something like that, and we had a lot of players injured, and this man somehow some way after the World Cup found a solution to bring us back into the European scene, and I think that was very impressive because you know like you said, Salah disappears a lot, but when he's on fire, bro, he is on fire. Like with him, that's the problem. Like he might have a bad game here and there, but when he's hot, he's really hot. And um, I think missing Diaz last year hurt us a lot because um, the way he plays is like very interesting in terms of um, the attacking style of Liverpool. You want guys who are daring. You want guys who are just going upward, and he's like that. And I think also Gakpo just last year when he came, after the World Cup, it was middle of the season, like you're not gonna click right away. Some players it like they take time to get adapted. Some others they just hit the ground running. He's one of those who needed some time. Now he's looking good. Um, I like that I think we've played 5 games right now. We scored 12 goals in 5 games, and we only conceded 3, if I'm not mistaken. And most of the goals we conceded were like, you know, they weren't like, like something that you worry about defensively. So I think we have a good start. Obviously, it's better if we're in the Europa League. You play rather. I'd rather say much, you know, less intensity and level of competition compared to the Champions League. So I don't know. I think this season, definitely we will have a good season, and Salah has got his confidence back. I'm not even a big fan of Salah for real. Corn knows, but well, you gotta give that guy his credit. Like he when it's all said and done, he will be there among the greatest strikers that ever played in the Premier League. Seriously, because he like the stats just speak for themselves. So yeah, but I feel like the credit goes to Klopp first for Liverpool's success. because a lot of people were talking about, is he gonna leave? It's over for Liverpool. Like, he doesn't have these guys that were helping him. All the players that were, in their prime, like Mane and Virgil and all of them, they're not that, not that they're not that good anymore, but at some point you could see that, they were downgrading a little bit slowly. Some of them left, and he still found a way to find pieces that match together and make something happen. So I'm really glad about that, man. Hopefully, we can keep going. The AFCON is coming. That's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. A lot of African players are going to be, you know, they're not going to be there. And I don't know. I think we have other than Salah. I think Salah is now our only African player, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. So, it will be interesting to see how we do without him in the offense. But yeah, you gotta keep that in mind. Those international competitions that happen mid-season, they can change a lot. You know, so yeah.
I do have a question for you because you said something about how you guys have more depth. Now, when I look at Liverpool, I actually look at a team that I actually think that you guys are back to square one, kind of back to where you guys were at the beginning of last season. Because although I think Sabushly and McAllister is good
Endo too,
options,
right? Endo too.
I mean, that's just the body, right? Like, I don't think that we're looking at him and expecting, like, no, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just trying to say that,
I
like,
thought you were just talking about depth. Like, go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
no, but well, yeah, but I mean, like, McTominay is depth. Is that really depth though? Like, no, it's not. But for me though, like, in all seriousness, you brought in these two midfielders. You also let go of Matip. I'm sorry, Fabinho and Henderson. Milner is also gone as well too. So for me, it's like you sold, you got rid of three, you brought in three. Gravenberch, you brought in Gravenberch to, okay. Do you think, like, where would you say you guys have the most depth at? Because to me, I still think that if one injury happens on that back line, you guys look very different. I think that if McAllister, God forbid, something happens to him, I think that that midfield looks a little bit different as well too. The only place where I'm like, offensively, you guys look okay. If Salah's hurt, Darwin can do a job, Yota can do a job, Luis Diaz can do a job. But like, where do you guys think you have the most depth? And like, with that depth, do you think you'll be able to compete this year in Europe and in the league?
I feel like we have the good thing with Liverpool is that we have players who can kind of play both ways. Meaning, like a guy like Gakpo, he can play as a striker, but he can take the midfield role a little bit in terms of like when we need him to be. And I was obviously more talking about the offense because I think last year, what did we have? I think we had Salah and Darwin and before Gakpo came, I think we had Salah, Darwin, and Diaz, and then Diaz went down, and we just had no options. Uh, but now, I think guys like Elliot are really valuable because he's a dog and he can go both ways. McAllister, I feel like we haven't really found a way to utilize him um greatly, but I think if we do, because he's a player that he likes his spot. Like once he gets comfortable, you know, he's really good. But the thing with him is like it takes time for him to like find uh like the perfect spot for him, and I think Klopp will be able to do that honestly. But I mean, compared to these other teams, like, well, nobody has the depth that Manchester City has, obviously. But other than that, I really like our squad, man. I think we don't really like we can't really shy away from it. And yeah, I was more speaking of offensively, but like these players like Gakpo and players like Elliot, you know, these are guys who can when you need them, they can get down a little bit on the midfield, but they're also very offensive players. And our attackers also are guys who don't hesitate to make the defensive plays when needed. Diaz makes that happen. Salah does that a lot. Even Mane used to do that a lot. So I think that's the strength of Liverpool, and who knows, man? Maybe during the season we'll get some more players. But I was more so talking about like compared to the other teams.
Yeah.
Does Liverpool win Europa League?
Uh, I have them winning it, but I feel like it depends on, because it depends on like who might drop from the Champions League to the Europa League. Because I feel like PSG or Dortmund, one of those two guys will be going to the Europa League. I feel like a team like Milan is there. I feel like it's a you don't know, but I don't know. I feel like we will go far for sure. Semifinals, that's a lot to me. If you don't reach the semifinal, it's a failure to me. I don't care. But yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
confident, man.
just make room for United and Arsenal. They're coming.
You don't have to
Arsenal
worry about
actually
Chelsea. Just us. No
yeah,
Excel. Just the regular.
yeah. I think Arsenal. I have a feeling Arsenal will make it out of the Champions League group. I
That'll
think they
be.
might.
I think that
Yeah.
would
Who do
be.
they have in their group again? I think it was
I'll tell you.
huh?
I'll tell you. Hold on, give me 1 second.
They have an easy group.
They have
Yeah, if I remember correctly, their group is not really that tough. So
PSV, Lens,
Arsenal.
Sevilla.
who?
Yeah. PSV,
Oh,
Lens,
yeah.
and
They
Sevilla.
it's basically like a Europa League group that's in the Champions League, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got it. They got it
They
lucky
got
there.
lucky for the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Newcastle might drop in the Europa League too. You never know.
Oh, yeah. Newcastle has a tough matchup. Game
Yeah,
one, I
we'll
think
see.
they play. Who do they play? They play AC Milan.
They play AC Milan tomorrow, and but Milan is not looking good this season. We lost 5-1 to Inter. I think Sunday, or was it Saturday? I don't remember. But yeah, that group can go. Anybody can come out atop that group. But I feel like I have a good feeling PSG is going to the Europa League, and if they do, Mbappe will have no choice but to go hard because Ronaldo and Messi were not playing in the Europa League when they were 25, 24. So, if you out there, man, you have to go hard.
I'll mute that for a second. Sorry, man. The feedback was crazy. But I agree. 100%. Moving on, talking about a team that really doesn't really need much talking to. I mean, they show up every week. They win, and it's just kind of we just here we are. Man City beats West Ham. Solo.
Yeah, man. Shout out West Ham. They put up a good fight. I think
Aw.
gave me a sorry. I'm sorry. But nah, it my main thing for the game was really just I wanted to see Doku get on. I wanted to see him do play well, and I wanted to see Alvarez be more engaged and be a part of the process. And both those things happen. I mean, when I tell you, listen, I've been making things work with and I still appreciate him, and I still want him at my club, and I still want him to be like a regular player and starter. But I've been making things work with Jack Grealish. I like the guy. I think he's great. I think he plays well. But I have been missing
the sauce on the wings. Okay, like right now, our wings have been dry rub. If I had to say, it has been, ball carrying possession. It's been, just get it as far as you can to there and then pass it in. But we needed some sauce. We needed some sauce, and we got Doku, and it's helping beat the allegations against Pep a little bit. And so my thing is, man, I was just like, man, all these other clubs got dreadheads. We can't have one. And then he hit the gritty on him. I was like, oh, thank God. We're slowly getting back, because there was a time, man, when City was full of players like Doku. Like, it was just players like, Michael Richard, Sean Wright Phillips, like just players that knew how to have fun. Hey, man, he knows how to have fun. That's the thing. And it's like players. There's players that yeah, just like people that just know how to bring energy to the game and fun. Like you need players like that, because like, listen, I get why we had to play the way that we had to play last year, and it was still, for me, very entertaining and engaging. But it's very professional. It's very cut and dry. It's very much hold the ball, get the goal, don't get scored on, and that's cut and dry. But I'm like, that just makes it the game. We need a beautiful game. And so that's where people like, like players like Doku, who have that magic with their feet, come in. And so just excited to have him there. And Alvarez is looking more and more like, I mean, Pep called him undroppable, and I agree. I mean, assists for Doku, assists for Bernardo, and then the pass to Bernardo to get the assist to Haaland, which, like, he's just been central in that role. And as KDB's there, if y'all got a fantasy Premier League, I highly recommend having Alvarez in there. He's because this guy, he will be getting assists, and when we need to rest Haaland, he will be getting goals. He kind of just fits everywhere. He's a jack of all trades, not really specialist in anything, but he can really do everything really well. And so that's great. And Haaland, I'm wondering what's going on with Haaland, which is crazy to say about a player that's 7 goals in like 5 games or whatever. But he was missing like crazy. But like, we're talking straight forward shots, and everything. And I was like, yo, if he didn't get a goal in that game, I wouldn't be surprised if there were people like, hey, he's had a really weird last like 10 or so games where, but I think he just slowly like kind of getting himself back into the league, and he's still doing great. It's just that he's missing a lot more this year than he was last year, when he would be like 2 touches and a goal and like a hat trick somehow. And you're like, how did that happen? And so I'm interested to see that, how he plays. Nottingham Forest is next. I'm sorry for them, because I think Haaland has to show out to remind people, like, yo, it's him and Mbappe right now. And so I'm just it's great. And having Pep back, I mean, he was gone for those past 2-3 weeks, 2 weeks before the international break. And I just having him on the sidelines, when the cameras get on him, he starts going off. So it's just like, hey, I appreciate it, keep it entertaining. And then Nunez got a little show out at the end, and I thought he was pretty good in coverage for Kovacic, who's injured. We're on a good run. I also think we've had a really easy start to the season. I'm not gonna like deny that at this point, because I'm looking at the teams we play versus some of y'all have played. We just haven't had the same level of competition. So when we get that Arsenal game in October, that Tottenham game, which is really big for us because we just can't seem to win against them. And then and even though United aren't in the greatest form, it's still a team that has hurt us when they weren't in good form. So and that's a derby game, and you can't really take that away from any type of matchup. So I'm really just looking forward to when we actually are playing against this like top brass of teams, and the teams are really firing, because I think that'll help me to feel fully settled in, like, okay, this is this is our season again, most likely. But if we're beating up on every other team and then losing or drawing to y'all or to other title competing teams, I don't know, it doesn't really say much. So just right now, I'm just hoping that we get to a place where we're able to keep doing this and doing it at a level that has honestly surprised me considering how much change has happened across our squad. So yeah, good. It's been a good start to the season, but also an easy schedule, so you can't put too much. I mean, even our group in UCL is pretty easy, so we should be winning these games. We shouldn't be losing any.
As always.
Not as always. Yeah, listen.
Bro,
Now,
those UCL group stages gotta be
Man,
easy,
y'all
man.
be cheating, bro. Y'all always get the easiest
Gotta
group
be
stage
easy,
game.
bro.
I know y'all
That's
Saudi
possible.
people be sprinkling some money in them
Every
pots,
year,
man.
bro.
Don't I know you know too.
First off, they're from the UAE. They're Abu Dhabi.
They got cousins over there.
now I do want
Yeah,
to say,
no,
real
I
quick,
mean, yeah, go ahead. My bad.
I think to your Jeremy Doku point, I think I'm really high on Jeremy Doku, and this may be a shout, but I think that he's the best left-sided attack winger in the Premier League. 100%. This season, when we look back, when they do the team of the year, the left winger that's going to be there will be him. 100%.
When we signed him from Rennes, I think it was Rennes, yeah, Rennes or something like that. He was the third. I had that third after Neymar and somebody and Vinny, I think, or some crazy like group of people. He was third in terms of dribbles completed and take ons, and so like my guy is really he's an underrated, like kind of just been forgotten about gem for the past 2 or so years that I didn't have him on my radar. And so yeah, he's a proper winger, not any of this like ball possession, ball carrying, like taking it and trying to figure out how to invert stuff. It's like, nope, I'm gonna take on my man every time, and I'm gonna try to figure out a way to get in and score a goal. And that's honestly, we've missed that level of directness. We got it with Holland, and it's like now we're getting it even again with Doku. So that's gonna be great.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, we got Champions League this week. Arsenal won. They beat Everton. Oh, Arsenal, what is it? They broke a record. It was what was the stat that they posted? They said Everton has gotten their number the past 6 games. So this game at Goodison Park was a huge victory for them. So congratulations to Arsenal. And Arteta, the revolution behind some of the innovation behind some of the substitutions. If you know, you know. But Arsenal won, so Gabriel, you can't say I didn't talk about them.
And then
As far
shout out, and
as
then
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, and then speaking about Arsenal, shout out Tottenham as well, man. Getting 2 goals within 3 minutes in the 98th and I think the 100th minute or 96, 100, something like that, to continue their unbeaten streak of this year. And then we got the North London Derby coming up this weekend, so it's gonna be a banger for sure.
Let's do a preview here real quick on that. North London Derby's Mike, you gotta leave in a little bit. So, Mike, what do you think about North London Derby this weekend?
Wow. Where's the game? Emirates?
I can tell you. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, if the game is at Emirates, Arsenal is definitely going to win. They're a good team at home.
It's at that.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see a 2-2 game. I think both sides are playing very well, but Arsenal seem to have more of they have more time playing together. So like when they face adversity, I think they can dig themselves out. So I'm definitely going to lean Arsenal for this game. Where'd you say the game was?
It's at the Emirates, so
Yeah, I can see them winning that game. I'll probably say somewhere between 3-1, maybe 2-2. But I think if it goes south, it's 3-1.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the time together definitely will be the difference. But Spurs look good, so
Yeah,
got to give them credit.
yeah. Richarlison got his goal too. So
It wasn't offside. So good for him.
mhm.
But yeah, man, Champions League is back. Quickly, I just want to ask you guys about some of these games. We don't have to talk really too much into it, but Papi, I know that you're an AC Milan fan. AC Milan plays Newcastle tomorrow. Just briefly, thoughts on that.
I feel like it's a fresh start for them considering how they lost uh terribly against um, longtime rival Inter Milan this weekend. You know, this is the UCL. They can just act like, okay, this is not Serie A, so we can forget about it and just go ahead and kick off the UCL with a good start. But I don't know. Coming back from a 5-1 loss like that, it really tends to kill your confidence. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a very interesting game. Um, I'm probably expecting a 1-1 draw, but we'll see. Hopefully, we get the win. Obviously.
Okay, very cool. Uh, Solo Man City plays.
Oh, we don't got to talk about that.
I think they
I
play
don't
Red
even
Star.
know. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah, we really don't got to talk about that. That game.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys play tomorrow. A team will be showing up at the Etihad at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you guys get this there. I don't see Chelsea on this list, so we're gonna keep going. But Bayern versus Manchester United.
GRG. I'm calling it. I'm sorry. This is my GRG. I'm calling this one for United because this feels like I'm calling this for United because I'm like I kept looking at this. It's same with Tottenham and Arsenal. I'm like this seems like an upset. Tottenham got something coming up, but the United Bayern, there's something about this game that like when I saw it, I was just like they really need a win.
So he's setting you up.
Nah, I feel like in Europe, like the chance to just forget about the Prem, play the team in front of you. I don't think it's gonna be the smacking that a lot of people think it's gonna be. I'm just like United have had a couple times where, as a City fan, I'll say this: there have been so many times in the past 12 years of my supporting of this team that I've been like, yeah, we're gonna smack United or United's gonna lose, and I've gotten used to that feeling of just United getting a dub. So I'm gonna say, I just want to say GRG for me.
Okay, I respect that. And I appreciate that. I'm not gonna go down that route necessarily per se, but if we approach the game like we did against Brighton, we're in a whole lot of trouble. I know that I joke around and say we're playing Brighton Munich, but now it's we're really playing them. So
Yeah.
But nah,
right. I gotta go. So I want to thank Poppy and Solo for coming on. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike. Peace out,
All
man.
right.
But yeah, man, as far as like the United Bayern Munich game goes, man, I think like Solo said, it's not gonna be an easy game. It's definitely not gonna be an easy game. But Bayern haven't been that great this season if you've watched them. I've watched the Bundesliga games. They haven't been as I guess as what everyone expected them to be with the addition of Harry Kane. I'm sure the more that they play together, they'll figure that out. But this game against United, I'm actually going to go for a draw. I think that when the chips are down, I think United have shown ways that they'll get the result. Same thing that happened last year. We dropped points against Brighton and Brentford terribly, and was able to bounce back against Liverpool and kind of kickstarted our season. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw at the Allianz, and hopefully this could be the start of good things to come. Chelsea doesn't play in the Champions League. I already said that. Arsenal plays.
Yeah. Keep reminding us.
Nah, I kept looking on here, but I just couldn't see it. Arsenal, they play PSV. So Gabriel is actually in London right now. So Gabriel might pull up, to the Mandem on Wednesday. We'll see. But Arsenal played PSV. I think that this is Arsenal's first time back in the Champions League for a while. So good for them.
Yeah, I was going to say with that Arsenal match, I know we were joking and saying that their group looks like a Europa League type group, but they really, for their first year back in the Champions League for 5 years, I believe, like four or 5 years, they they can actually do some damage, and I actually see them getting out the group as well. But I think it matters all about how you start. So they do need to come out firing. I got Arsenal in this match though.
Okay. Good deal. I think that's a no,
Yeah.
Liverpool's not in there. Liverpool's not in there. Poppy, who do you got? Liverpool. You guys, let me see.
Let me see. I will say though, for the Arsenal game, they got a big game coming up on the weekend. I do wonder what type of changes they're gonna make. So if they're gonna like go with let's put our B squad and not go hard on PSV, or if they're gonna do like get a confidence from beating on them. So I feel like it's a little bit of a because of the Tottenham game, it makes this a little bit tricky to plan for.
Oh, I do have a question. Sorry, I meant to ask you guys this. So Aaron Ramsdale was benched for David Raya this past weekend, and Arteta came out with this statement about he didn't have the courage of subbing a goalkeeper at some point last year. But do you think Aaron Ramsdale being benched was like a big deal, or do you think that this was just squad rotation in preparation of the Champions League?
I think rotation. I think it's just because like I don't think Ramsdale was that bad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's been like catastrophic for them or like so bad that he needs to be put down. So I think it was just rotation. Rayo's probably better at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like just a rotational thing. I mean, it's good to have two good keepers. You can throw either one in and feel confident that you'll come out with a result. I still think Ramsdale is number one though. So when it comes down to it, I think he'll be the one that plays in all the bigger games. So I think we'll see him on Wednesday, and then we'll see him again this weekend for the North.
But that's the thing though. Like it's the first Champions League game back in a while, and then you have the North London derby coming up. So I don't see a scenario where where one gets benched and then the other plays midweek in Champions League, and then that same person plays again on the weekend. I think that you're sending a message to the other keeper that this guy is the stronger one. And I'm gonna say here, I think David Raya is better than Aaron Ramsdale, but we'll let that play. Man doesn't even start for his country, but hey. People will say I'm a hater. We can end it on here. I did have a start sub sell, but I'm gonna save it. I won't be petty this week. I just want y'all to know that Andre Onana is better. David Sanchez, and Aaron Ramsdale. But do you guys have any shout outs before we go?
Shout out Spurs. I think I'm saying that, but I caught a couple of their games at the beginning, just because after the first 3 wins, I was like, that's interesting. I caught the last 2, and I don't know what Anji is doing there. I don't know what his whole like. I actually don't know much about him as a coach or anything, but it seems like they have this like belief in themselves that Strange didn't exist when they had Kane there. I don't know where it comes from. So, but they're doing something.
Okay. Yeah, my shout out. Honestly, I just wanted to shout out you guys, man. Shout out Poppy for coming on. Shout out Solo for coming on, taking the time out to rock with us, man. So, shouts out to you guys, man. 100%. Everyone that tunes in and shows us love. Cornelius, did you have anyone?
No, mine were going to be the same again. Shout out Poppy. I know Poppy's been asking me for a minute to hop on, so thank you. I know it's a little bit later over there on your side of the world, over there in Senegal, but I really do appreciate it, man. Come on anytime. We'll love to hear your takes. Definitely love to hear more Liverpool talk because you guys are back. Like I said, all seriousness, you guys, as long as you stay healthy, you're going to be serious this year.
Yeah, I just respectfully don't. I wish that you're not healthy when you see us, but just temporarily. No long-term injuries. You're not able to play those 90 minutes against us, because we owe you after that 7-0 situation that happened. But yeah, man, appreciate everyone for tuning in. Big week ahead. Champions League is back. So a lot more content coming. Until then, good luck to you and your future.